Newcastle 1, Barcelona 2. We're going to have to talk about Rashford. We should talk about Rashford. And we're going to have a great conversation about Rashford because you're going to be lied to. You're going to be lied to across the internet. People are going to go, Rashford's back. Now, he scored two great goals. Great goals. And we're going to break this down because there's so much more at play here. He is the ultimate. There's a couple of phrases that we're going to chuck out there that if you are part of my journey on YouTube, you will understand. Welcome to More James Allcott with me, More. We're going to have a look at the tactics of this game. And there's two things I want to talk about. First of all, that second goal was delicious. But the other thing I want to talk about is he's good. But is he good? Is there a more confusing footballer than Marcus Rashford? And is this game just the most perfect example of the Marcus Rashford that we have kind of come to know over the last couple of seasons? Someone who's got outrageous quality at times. But actually, if you really watch the games, you'll see that Kieran Trippier had a really great game in this one. And he had Rashford in his pocket throughout the game. Let's have a look at the lineups and the whole setup of this game first and foremost. Because, as I say, I think predicting this game, a lot of people would have said a lot of cliches. And a lot of them actually kind of came to be with this one. Because you've got things like the fact that Barcelona probably should have a little bit too much quality for them. I think that did come to be in this game. Also, you're going to go, the crowd have got a big part to play today, you know. And, I could do that in a Geordie accent. I won't. But they did. And also, you would have thought Newcastle would look to get at them early doors, really press high, and that is exactly what they did as well. But there was two stages of their defence, both very proactive, very aggressive, and I think Eddie Howe's main aim here was to outrun this Barcelona side and that intensity to really kind of take them over the line. But as the game progressed, there was the high press, which will show you. Actually, I'll show you it straight away. Because you could see, like, literally from the first 30 seconds of the game that they just came and really got at this Barcelona team. But, of course, they didn't take away the points. And I think the bottom line of that is, again, going back to those predictions that you had two new cameras now, I'm just getting my head around it. When you're predicting a game like this, you would imagine Newcastle will huff and they will puff and they will give absolutely everything, but they might just not have the quality needed in the key moments. But the big matchup I could see from the first half before Rashford scores a goal, and it's Rashford versus Trippier. Because, yes, huge intensity in terms of how they played. And you can see, like, pressing, absolute monsters, so much energy in what they were doing. And this is just and they win the ball back and the crowd goes wild. And it was exactly what you wanted. If, Eddie Howe wants them to get the crowd up, and they were. This is 3 minutes 40, just chasing them down. They want to come this way. They end up having to go back the other way. Joe Linton at them as well. Livramento ready to jump here. So whenever the goalkeeper got the ball, they really did try and get at them. They made a way back. Alanga's there now, and it was sensational. It was absolutely fantastic the way they were able to kind of press them and hurt them. But as I say, I thought the key thing in all of this was this man. This man here, Kieran Trippier. Don't be fooled. Okay, we've got to talk about Rashford, and it's not sexy. He had one hell of a game. And won the battle against Rashford. Because you could see, as the two teams were going to set up, that this was going to be a key part of it. Because the way that Newcastle like to sort of set up is, they'll have this here, but what they'll do brilliantly is that they'll go and engage. They'll go and step out. So it's a very straight line, really. Most teams, you would have someone like Tonali dropping in here. These guys come here. So if you beat that first line, Langa maybe even here, looking to cut off passes here. And if you get through the first line with the ball, be it a JLA ball or, whatever ball you'd like. There's lots of different balls on the JLA tactics board. Go and check it out. Lots of people getting tucked into it now. But what they did Newcastle, and I just love this, they always generally do this, is they actually play with this tight line here. And because Alanga's got energy, because Bruno's got energy, Tonali's got so much energy, Joe Linton, Barnes, and even Livramento will go and jump at times. That was the way that they were going to set up. And so Gordon, of course, will show that energy. And when they got the ball, they broke. And they really did hurt this this Barcelona side. But the final ball just wasn't there for them. But as I say, the key matchup was going to be these two, because the way that Barcelona were going to work the ball through the pitch was, one, try and find Fermin, who had, there was a lovely moment here where he basically did a movement there, came back, and Joelinton had just sort of looked himself at that moment in time. So he saw Fermin go into that space, thought he'd had that cover shadow sorted, but actually Fermin knew exactly what he was doing, Fermin Lopez, and it was a really simple pass to him at one point. But overall, they were pretty compact, really aggressive Newcastle, and did really, really well. But the key matchup was going to be that, because with the ball and that key area here being blocked up, and that energy being shown to get at them, Barnes looking to do this and bend those runs as well, it was going to be that kind of double width that you were going to get on the sides, and sometimes Koundé would step in here to help allow to get the ball over to the wide player, but also be one where if Fermin was kind of drifting into different areas, then Rafinha would step in here, and then exactly the same with Martin on that side. So it was about kind of going round when those few moments came to be. But a lot of the game, if I just drag everyone, a lot of the game was played with in transition, really. Hang on, let me take that off. There we go. In transition, really. And so what that led to was moments of Rashford up against Trippier. And look, as I say, Rashford has scored 2 great goals in this game and shown that quality. But prior to that, he wasn't keeping an eye on Trippier, who was hurting them. And Trippier was winning the battle when it came to defence. And of these two, you know that one's got wheels, one's got, he's just an incredible professional. And I thought that showed in this game. And I thought, look, to a man, I thought Newcastle were good. It was just that final ball that really, really hurt them time and again. This is early in the game. Rashford not really concentrating on where Trippier was, but Trippier being confident enough to step into that space there. And what that did is it allowed Elanga to thrive, because Elanga was able to keep Martin back. And actually, this back line, which I don't think you'd normally see from Barcelona, this is a sort of a bit of a win for them. They were so far back throughout the game because Elanga constantly had them pinned back, but also because Bruno and Trippier, 2 great passers of the ball, were constantly looking to play that pass into him. But as I say, he steps here, Rashford's not watching, they're able to get him there, and from there they actually create a great chance. So this game could have been very, very different. Here you see it, plays it, and then they're on their way, move it along, and it leads to Elanga getting the ball and being able to run at them, and it's that great chance that Gordon has, and he's got to score it. And that's it. It's the quality in those key moments that's going to hurt Newcastle. And I think when they play with this kind of intensity, to then have the quality as well is difficult. And the obvious glaring thing to maybe say is, if you've got Isak there, then maybe it's a little bit different. I think that's what a lot of people will probably be talking about today, because Elanga regularly was able to get in behind and hurt them, and that all stems from Trippier. This is the other side of it, and this is why Rashford is so confusing, because of course he does have these great moments, and it was a really good battle. This is one when there's a pass played out by Garcia, and he literally does a little dummy and he runs him on. But again, in the same action, does he do what he wants to do? He kind of huffs and puffs, and look, it's good defending. Dan Burn comes over to help him, but he has got 3 players there that he could have picked, and he doesn't. So that's the sort of, we're going to go through the good, the bad, and the ugly here a little bit. This is another example where maybe it's down to the instructions of the team, but Rashford's not really concentrating on Kieran Trippier, who again was able to kind of cheat somewhat and step forward. So when we're talking about Rashford, one thing I do want to talk about is the fact that he has a profile that's going to be really, really useful to Barcelona. And we saw that with the goals, because another kind of player probably doesn't score the goals that he scored today. But it's another example where, we're moving about here. It's another example where Trippier, again, available. So from the defensive side of it, Rashford wasn't really kind of focusing on his man a lot of the time. Trippier, on this occasion, nothing comes to it. And as I say, this was just one where we're talking about, the setup of Newcastle there. There's Banks there, but all of them looking to jump whenever they could. Body language was really good. They defended really well. Fermin, as we've spoken about, trying to sort of be that option, but often the space was going to be out wide where Trippier could then get to him. This is one where Rashford's come in to link up the play. But that battle between the two of them was one throughout. And Kieran Trippier generally won that. He won it here. I think this is maybe a little bit later on. I think this leads to something. I've just moved them around. This is another one, actually. He wins that pass and then plays a great move, and it leads to, again, the good side of tactically having Newcastle got somewhere today where they were looking to put Elanga in at any moment with Bruno G here. And this is another great example where, again, and the cross is there. Harvey Barnes is like, he's got to go in. Has to go in, or can you be cute enough to play it backwards? Either way, it's that final pass that's ended up costing this Newcastle side, because I think Eddie Howe got his game plan absolutely spot on, and that group that he's got there, such great energy, such great honesty. I mean, this is another one, actually. I just noticed it there. Look, Trippier completely all by himself. So Rashford not really kind of working back. But the focus was always, can you get Elanga in? Elanga was being really clever and careful, I think, on that final line. They knew they were going to try and play that offside line. And this is another example of what could have been for them, where they get the cross in, but kind of nothing comes from it. Another one where Trippier wins his battle with Rashford. So Rashford, this isn't about kind of digging out Rashford, but it's about telling the truth. That's what I'm going to, that's what I'm always going to try and do. And I think he didn't thrill. He didn't. Now, this is the key thing I want to talk about when it comes to him at Barcelona, and why, for this Barcelona side that does like to have possession, for them to be able to score more goals in transition, maybe, and look, Rafinha will provide that, of course, on the right-hand side. But what Rashford brings brilliantly is this. And actually, this goal comes from the kind of immobility, maybe being a bit harsh here, but he's a bit older than the rest, of Lewandowski. So Newcastle actually win the ball high here, and then they kind of give it away. Bruno G's trying to do something a little bit clever, and they're able to break down that side with Rafinha. But look at Rashford here. What's really nice is about him here is that he is naturally a player that, yes, he's a left winger, but okay, he's not going to be totally complete because he's not totally switched on sometimes defensively. But he's also someone who's kind of half a forward as well. So when that moment happens where Lewandowski's there and they're able to break, Rafinha's on this side, not sure where Firmin was. What's interesting is Lewandowski's kind of pinning them back here, and he's on his way, but he hasn't really got the pace to hurt them in transition. He's not that kind of player. But Rashford, as that sort of hybrid, yes, a left winger, but yes, someone who's played as a central striker as well, that's where you really saw, I've pressed a button now, that's where you saw that profile of him really come to the fore in this one. And you can see it right here, because I think, if this is Jeremy Doku or something, and it's Haaland, Lewandowski's making his way there, he's going to make his way out there. But Rashford sees that space and drives into that space. And the reason that's important is that's where the goal comes from. Because, yes, he's then in that lane there, a central lane, as opposed to being out wide. And look, it would have been fine somewhere else. But to have two players that are sort of strikers, at least, or that skill set that Rashford has, that means that when the ball is recycled, first of all, he's alive. He gets a bit of separation from Fabian Schär, because initially he's waiting for Koundé to pull the ball back. So he comes back from that 6-yard line, and then he sort of hovers around that area, and he's able to score, a header like this. And it's that quality that he has, which again comes back to the fact that I am so confused by Marcus Rashford. Who is this guy? He's good, but is he good? I'm pretty sure he's good. But how good? Can he keep it going? But that's the quality that he can provide you. And him at Barcelona, it does give a different profile to them that is going to be really, really useful in transition. So he is good, but is he good? And we find our way back to the second goal, which again, it's very few players can. First of all, he wants to pick up the ball in that area. He's not your out-and-out winger, so that's good, and it gives you that versatility. But I think it's the dribble that's just fantastic, and then to be able to whack it like he does. Very few players can hit the ball the way he hits the ball. So that those moments of world-class ceiling are there. But then there comes the narrative, which I think is really interesting here, because he is a story. He's been such a story. And so he gets the ball a couple of seconds later on. And I don't know if you guys noticed this as well. But the commentary, I'm not having to go at the commentary. I thought it was fantastic. It's just, I love Ali and Fletcher. But he gets the ball here against Kieran Trippier, who's suffering from cramp at this stage. And the commentary team go, he's oozing with confidence, right? And so from this moment here, he should have the wheels. He should be able to get there, get on that right foot. And I think Thierry Henry was doing a bit of analysis on it, on Gyökeres, but get across, get that shot off and affect it from that point of view. But instead, and this is obviously after the goal where he's got that confidence, he actually ends up getting tackled by Kieran Trippier, who's got cramp, we know is not the quickest. So he's good, but is he good? And he wasn't brilliant in this game. He just came up with 2 brilliant moments. So he continues to confuse me. Newcastle, I thought, did really well. I think it's one where you need to kind of look to retain that energy that you had in those first 20 minutes. But can that be that bit more quality at times? Can you be better from set pieces? I thought that was a really disappointing part of Newcastle's game today, where they didn't really create enough from any of those set piece moments. They had a lot of fouls. They've got someone like Kieran Trippier there. They've got someone like Dan Burn there. Maybe, if you're getting Voltemada on the pitch, maybe you've got a better chance here. But understandably, with the 4 changes that he made in the 60th minute, it was about energy and pace in this team. And Newcastle did themselves, well. But a couple of moments from Rashford were the different. Final mention, Pedri, wow. He just sort of quietly goes about his business. Such an exciting player. And Fermin Lopez as well, I really, really enjoyed today as well. Barcelona got the job done. There is that kind of overall expectation. But again, you remember this is like a young team of graduates. So to go into that and to keep themselves together, it was a great game, tough game, and I loved it. What did you think about it? Are you confused by Rashford? I know he's good, but is he good? But how good? And can he get back to that greatness? And can he sustain it? Has he gone to the right place? So many questions. Answer them all. And subscribe. Goodbye.